Hello, and welcome to the Santaland podcast. I created it just for you. I'm your host, Tony Felice. In each episode, I'll read to you for 10 minutes, and then we'll talk about what we just heard. Like the cricket in my story, I'll guide you through a grown-up fairy tale, one that explores ideas of existence, identity, and the soul's journey through trauma, and the transformative power of love. By the end, you'll have heard my whole story, a sneak peek into the creative process of bringing a book to life. Maybe we'll read other books together. But for now, follow the wise cricket and discover the Santaland within yourself, a place of hope, connection, and peace that's already inside of you. This podcast is especially made for those like me who feel a little different and maybe talk about math at weddings or philosophy at funerals. And like me, maybe you have a loving husband, or a wife, or somebody else that loves you. If not, we're here to love you, because you're in good company, my dear friends, here in Santaland. Hello, and welcome back to the Santaland podcast. We are already up to chapter 18, entitled David's Point Exactly. After Meredith's call, Tom turned to the window. David still cleaned his hands. I stood absolutely still. "She wants to talk to you about the advance after cigar," said David. "I know," said Tom. "Maybe a push is what you need." David spoke carefully, chicken dancing still on his mind. I laughed at that. "Maybe a hen needs a flag," Tom suggested, ironically. Wendy used to say that all the time. He loved it because it made no sense. David finished wiping his hands, left the towel on his chair, and crossed the room to the bookshelf next to Tom's desk. For Tom, reference material, a momentary point of pride, and now nothing but a clock. Ticking. He thought, look at this shelf. See what I have to do? You got to be better than before. They're expecting it. David gestured to the spines of the books. He had a different relationship with the bookshelf. Cigar, I Am Matter, How Can a Door Be Ajar? He pointed to the titles of the books while saying them out loud. All bestsellers. Meredith hated cigar, Tom replied. She always hates everything at first, you know that. It's your thing. It's uncomfortable seeing two people love each other fiercely, and yet tear each other apart. It's just an act. It's how we play, said Tom, turning a questioning look in David's direction. I'm not talking about that, Tom. You know what I mean, said David. David wasn't happy. He thought to himself, Meredith thinks it's her job to keep your head on straight, not to encourage the madness of St. Tom. But it was David's job to bolster and to restore faith, and her pushy encroachment into his role was annoying for David. Lately, they had bristled, he and Meredith. I'm just asking that the two of you try not to kill each other all the time, David replied. David was careful, thinking, Tom's like a new colt emerging from a stable of grief and shirked responsibility. Chicken dances be damned. It was true. Tom had felt overwhelmed. Internal spin caused gravity, and gravity caused more spin. Well, I'm just glad that you have faith in me, said Tom, especially when others don't. He said it as he crossed the room and took a book off the shelf. The title, Sometimes a Cigar is Just a Cigar, and Sometimes It's Just a Universe. He opened it. The dedication read, For David and Wendy, ad astra per aspera, with hardship to the stars. Tom closed it, detaching himself emotionally from the content. He placed the book slowly in its place. It hovered on the edge of the shelf. He nudged it with his finger. His eyes lingered on the bottom of the spine. Bentley and Company. In the beginning, Tom was picked up by Holding Press on his first attempt. This was pre-Meredith. When other publishers had passed, Maria Holding, née Hernandez, came with all the vigor and intelligence that stimulated Tom's imagination. I had a hand in making sure she got the manuscript. Don't ask me how. It's my secret to share if I want. She was his first editor and his second fan after David. Now she was his secret weapon, and non-disclosure agreements for Meredith be damned, Maria was still his muse. She edited all of his work secretly, lest Meredith be threatened. She filled in many gaps, especially those vacated by Wendy's death. Maria had a unique ability to understand Tom's needs before he did, and she carefully and gracefully helped him elevate his storytelling. It gave him hope, which is hard to come by for an artist, no matter how much David and I helped. Tom achieved great success with the first title. They had become good friends, and Maria helped Tom to find the bigger publisher. In fact, Maria had concocted a scheme for a chance meeting between Tom and Meredith. Look into my watch. Let's review those conversations. She won't buy it, Tom had said back then in 1993. I think she will, Maria replied. But Maria, I can't abandon you. I won't do it, said Tom. That's impossible. I am and have always been by your side, dear Thomas. Maria Holding Hernandez. More than the ontological semiosis that produced her name and her hold on Tom, she weathered all the storms with him. Maria told him, My house is too small for you, hun. You need firepower. You need a dragon to slay other dragons for you. Film rights, stage rights, etc. Tom had understood, though it broke him inside a little bit. Maria had been with him for every interview, every opportunity following his first book. He proudly pushed her forward as his muse. In contrast to Meredith's dragon lady, Maria was luminous, stunning no matter what age or gravity suggests. Her silver hair framed a delicate Bostonian, classically beautiful face. With a dash of Basque, she'd remind people. Maria was elegance and sophistication, wrapped in the mantle of a generous heart and a scientific mind. She recognized Tom's talent from the first paragraph. He had submitted to her blindly, without an agent. She found introspection and the tempo of his work fascinating. But you are my Ophiuchi hotline, Tom pleaded with her. He felt like they were breaking up, but they weren't. Maria would help and serve as his manager, advising him on his career and helping him with his work before submitting it to Meredith. It's logical, Tom. If I could do it, I would, she replied. With Maria's help, the chance meeting happened on a rainy Thursday afternoon. At the time, Meredith was just a senior editor at Bentley, a specialty publisher. Now, it was a giant monstrosity, and she lorded over the works of thousands of authors and creators, books, podcasts, screenplays, licensing, power plays, you name it. Meredith had ducked in to the coffee shop from the rain. Wandering towards the barista, she'd recognized Tom from an article about him in the Times, orchestrated by Maria. He was sitting in the corner of the coffee shop, across from 30 Rockefeller Center. Meredith visited it daily, and Maria knew that. Meredith stopped at his table, waited for him to look up, thinking, he's better looking than I thought. When Tom looked up, she said, You're Tom Sanders, aren't you? Yes, Tom replied. Meredith. She offered her hand. Mind if I sit for a wee moment? My dogs are killing me, darling. Okay. After settling in, she said, I'll be blunt, I'm interested. Tom said, Interested in what? Silly, you, darling, she replied. The encounter led to a lunch at a tacky Thai restaurant where Meredith picked up the check while picking up a new client. Don't take me to some place like this again, she said outside. After the lunch, they discussed his work, not noticing me on the chair rail. I sat there, quietly. They discussed that and his future at Bentley. It was the start of a tumultuous but very rewarding friendship. She conquered the publishing world. He tried to conquer sentences, with Maria's help, of course. At first, Tom was entranced with the high-powered life that Meredith orchestrated around her, the parties, the tuxes, being seen. But time had left a patina on that experience. Great for provenance, terrible for aging artists with a limited amount of patience for anything that smacked of inauthenticity or phoniness. 20 years later, and Meredith was queen. She owned 51% of everything, in her mind, maybe even Tom. She was a powerhouse. She answered to no one but her board. She wielded power like a dragon, fierce, her deadly words spoken carefully to hit their mark. And while she sat squarely on the naughty list, she was a catalyst to bring people to the nice list, whether she knew it or not. Back in the present, in the barn, David muttered out loud, "Another chicken dance." "What did you say, hon?" Tom asked absent-mindedly. "Nothing, babe," David replied, thinking, "They say that a chicken used to be a T-Rex, and isn't that kind of a dragon?" I chuckled at David's analogy. If he only knew. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 18. Its purpose is to move the plot along, but also to introduce the growing tension between David and Meredith. David once again pointing out to Tom that his past successes should be plenty of reason why he should be happy. And I'm guilty as the next person that sometimes I feel like it's not enough. Sometimes I feel like I don't know, I had a bigger calling than, I've had a wonderful life, and don't get me wrong, some amazing things have happened to me in my life. I mean, incredible stuff. But at the same time, I'm an artist and I want to be further along. Like every other artist wants to be further along. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but for me that's changed a bit. That's how the character is right now, okay? And I can relate because I wrote it, and that's who I used to be. I can tell you I'm not that person anymore. Well, but I'll tell you that this character is going through it. I also wanted you, the reader, to understand David's integration into all of this, right? He's not just a supportive husband, but he's also, he's very alert to his other half. The way, even though Tom may seem aloof to David, Tom knows exactly where everything is that David has. He can, you know what I mean? He has taken care of David in different ways. But that, I don't want to illustrate that because it's not about that. It's really about David, especially in his chapters. So I take a little bit of poetic license to have him thinking and then jumping into this scene in the past that's all about Tom, and his editor and how he met Meredith. And so you probably ask yourself, what it says David's point exactly? What does that mean? So what's that Easter egg? I'd like you to email me and tell me what you think that Easter egg is. David's point exactly. I'll give you a clue. Begin with a conclusion. That's it. That's the only clue I'm going to give. Okay, we're going to wrap this one up at 12 minutes. And that way I'm not talking my head off. So thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you, and hope you tune into the next episode here on Santaland.